everyone, and welcome to our hashtag Female Boss mini YouTube series. Today we have the lovely Lynn Mann, who is the owner of Supernature oils. Lynn is an amazing female boss entrepreneur who has received early business support from Scottish Edge and has been incredibly successful ever since. Lynn is also an ambassador for Women's Enterprise Scotland. So hello, Lynn.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem at all, not a problem. So welcome. So how about we just get things started and you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about how you set up your business in the first place.
Sure. We started Supernature Oils 10 years ago as an on-farm diversification. I had a whole different career path at the time. I was a counsellor therapist at the time, after having had lots and lots of different career paths in my 20s, which I always get kidded on about from my kids. So I had been a counsellor therapist and had taken a career break when we were about to have our daughter. And I was still on that career break when we have a tenant farm just south of Edinburgh. So it means we don't own the farm, but it's pure tenancy. So we rent it if you like, but it's very secure and it's been in my husband's family for 165 years. So
wow.
Though we don't own it, there's that sort of continuity and history and everything. But he was finding it harder and harder to kind of make a living on a farm this size. So was looking at various diversification possibilities. So he was kind of running a few things by me, and he mentioned cold pressed rapeseed oil. And I said, oh, what's all that about? And he said, oh, it's supposed to be healthier than olive oil. And at the time, nobody had really heard of cold pressed rapeseed oil. And I thought of myself as quite a healthy eater and everything was extra virgin olive oil. And he said, no, it's supposed to be healthier and I think we can grow it on the farm. So I got my researcher hat on, which was in my 20s, and looked into it, and I was like, wow, this stuff is supposed to be amazing, and it is even healthier than extra virgin olive oil. It's got a high burn point, it's really high omega-3, and so I kind of encouraged them that maybe this would be a good diversification. He thought he could grow the crop well on the farm, so we both kind of researched it a bit more. And he was a bit reticent because he felt that he wouldn't be very good with the kind of sales marketing side, but he would be good with the production side. And so I kind of said, well, how about I help you for a year to get it off the ground, because I'm on a career break anyway. And the idea was he would just kind of get the product into a couple of local shops in Edinburgh maybe, and also he would do some farmers markets. So that was 10 and a bit years ago, and I didn't ever go back to work. I got totally sucked into it, and we really just kind of tested the water early on. That's what I would say to anyone who's got an idea that they want to. When you've got an idea and you're seized by it, you want to throw everything at it. You want to go in, full tilt. And for some people, that works okay, and going for finance and everything, it works okay. But if you have an idea and you can see a way that you could kind of test the water with it and maybe invest some money, but not go in too full scale to test it, I would say that's the best way to start, the ideal way. We just got we grew the seed on the farm anyway. So we got it contract pressed by someone in Northumberland.
Right.
So hauled the seed down there, brought it back, the oil back in big vats, and then we bottled it here. But that only involved buying some bottles, getting some labels made, and having a hand capping machine.
Right, okay.
So we really started off with very little investment. But within a few months, we started winning awards for our original oil, and that kind of encouraged, and then we got a few customers, and that kind of encouraged us that we could maybe do a bit more with it, and started to branch out into infused oils, which we've now got 15 of, broadest range of infused oils in certainly the UK, probably Europe. And we then started just kind of growing the business, and anything we made, we were reinvesting in the business to grow it. And we really, the bulk of our business now is hotels and restaurants. We do truffle oils, which are really popular, as well as
Sounds
our
lovely.
oils. Yeah, it's great. We do a white and a black truffle oil. We also do online sales through our website. We do shows and Christmas fairs and things like that. But the bulk of our business, like I say, is sort of hotel and restaurants. So
That's perfect.
yeah, it's been a very steep growth curve.
Yeah.
So it's worked out.
Yeah, learning fast on your feet, which is something that I certainly we always try and explain that to the students, that it's going to be an ever growing climb and a battle to just to kind of get things sorted.
Yeah,
But it's just part of the process, isn't it? It's part of the journey.
yeah.
And I know many of our students will potentially have an idea already, but maybe not sure how to make a sort of viable business out of it. How did you come up with the idea to diversify your farm? Was it more just like you were saying, there was like a need or a question for it, so you just diversified from there, or what would you say?
I mean, really, it was a sort of survival instinct because we needed to bring in some extra money. And then this seemed like something, because I could help out with it, it seemed like something that we could it would add value to what we were already doing on the farm. But for anyone who's got an idea, I would say a big thing is research. Also have confidence in your idea, because I think early on a lot of people think, oh, it would be great to do that, but I couldn't do that, or
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where to start. Well, I mean, those things of I don't know where to start and I don't know anything about that, that's all stuff that you can learn. It's all stuff that there's
100%.
lots of support there for new businesses. As you mentioned earlier, I'm an ambassador for Women's Enterprise Scotland, and they have an online women's business centre, which it has a wealth of information and support on lots of different topics about starting a business. There's also things like Business Gateway and Scottish Enterprise. And I think that if you have a germ of an idea, you can do a bit of research yourself, but then start going to these support agencies that are there specifically to help people take the germ of an idea
Yeah.
and move it on to the next stage and take it in a direction. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to do it. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to fund it and do it. It just means that it's you're kind of testing the water,
Yeah,
researching it.
100%. Doing almost like a wee soft launch to see how is this going to be received. Is this actually going to work? Definitely, definitely.
And you grow confidence as you learn more, as you work with
100%.
agencies and things. You get more knowledge. You start to see how your idea could maybe move forward, and you start to believe in it. Also, a lot of people, I was in the Accelerator Entrepreneurial Spark when it started, and a lot of people there started out with one idea and they went down a road with that, and then started to realize that maybe that wasn't for them, or that wasn't going to work ideally. So they then pivoted into something else that felt was more suited to them. And I think when you're in that environment of other startup businesses, that's the other thing of the agencies and things that help and organizations, is that like what you're doing, is that mixing with other people who want to start their own business or who have, is invaluable, because
100%, definitely.
with kind of assessing your idea, and like say, maybe if that you think, well, that doesn't work for me, it doesn't mean you can't start a business. It just means you go on another idea.
Yeah, and go down a different route. But especially that almost like that sort of camaraderie as well, to know you're not on your own. Your feelings that you're feeling, if you're nervous or worried about it, like you're saying, that maybe that lack of confidence at the start, being aware that you're not on your own, it makes a massive difference to know that you've got someone else sort of going through the journey with you.
Definitely.
Perfect, thank you so much. So in terms of like challenges that you've potentially faced or overcome when you're starting your business, how did you overcome them? So those challenges that you found were particularly big challenges, how did you manage to overcome them?
Well, I think initially the main one that I touched on earlier was that we didn't really have any money to start a business. So we had another business. We already had the farm business, but we had to really do it in a small way, without much investment. And So that was our first challenge, but we managed to start it in a way that we could start to grow it, get some sales, reinvest the money that we brought in. So and obviously we had the farm business, which helped support that, and diversification from that. One of our other main challenges was that at the time that we started, people didn't really know, the general public didn't know about cold pressed rapeseed oil. There was starting to be odd mention of it, but it was a very unknown quantity. So instead of going to shows and fairs and farmers markets and just saying, oh, try our oil, we were kind of having to educate people. So it's like you've got two cells. You've got to sell people on what cold pressed rapeseed oil is and why you would want to buy it over, just standard rapeseed oil that's been heated, extracted, or olive oil or whatever. So we had that kind of sell, and then it was about our brand, because there was a few other brands of cold pressed rapeseed oil had started around that time. So those were quite a sort of challenge initially. It really, after the first couple of years, we noticed that when we were at shows and fairs and things, people would start to say, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Oh yeah, I know about cold pressed rapeseed oil, but that took a couple of years.
Yeah, before that happened.
Yeah, and also, we didn't, neither of us had any experience in well, obviously farming is the food industry, but we had never had any experience in retail. So approaching, shops and wholesalers and things like that, we were very much newbies to it and knew nothing. So we had to kind of educate ourselves about how things work in relation to wholesalers and margins that shops expect on your products, margins that hotels and restaurants expect. So we had a lot of kind of learning there.
Yeah.
So that was quite of a challenge. But I think a big thing as well that I would always say to people is that these challenges, quite often, other people round about you or people that you've connected to through business will have very similar challenges. And asking people about, oh gosh, how did you deal with this, or how did you find out about that? People have been through that journey very often, are quite happy to help you, from their experience and say to you, oh yeah, if you speak to this person or go here, you'll find out this. So that really helped.
Definitely. And you do find that, like you're saying, that network of potential local entrepreneurs, like you're saying, they have to have started from somewhere. So they're going to have to face challenges and aversions as they're building that business. So there isn't any harm in reaching out to people and trying to connect to people and ask simple questions like, do you mind if I take 5 minutes of your time just to talk to you? Like, you'll probably find that the majority of people will be more than happy to do that and give back.
They were often, when I would go to shows and fairs, I would be asking other food businesses that were there that we weren't in competition with because they had a whole type of product. I would be asking them, oh, what did you do when you started out? What shows did you go to? And what trade fairs did you go to? And they'd give you a wealth of information on what were the best and what were best to avoid and things.
Yeah, definitely. So you've already touched on quite a lot of parts there of like hints and tips of networking with people, trying to be resilient. But do you have any other sort of hints and tips that you would offer our students that are looking to set up in business?
I think the key ones would be the going to organizations and agencies and things that are around that can really point you in the right direction of where you might start. I think a big thing is believing in yourself, because most people who start in business, from my experience, most people I've spoken to and know that have started in business have felt that they couldn't do it before they did do it. So at some point you move from that thinking you can't do it to starting to build belief that maybe you can. So I think the sooner you try and sort of foster that belief in yourself, then the more likely you are to sort of move things forward. I think also part of that belief is kind of pushing yourself to take actions, instead of being in your head with it and thinking, well, what if this, what if that, and going through all the scenarios. I think just kind of telling yourself that there's certain actions you can take and just pushing yourself, because every time you take action, you grow a wee bit of confidence, you know, if you take
Definitely.
towards your goal. So I think that's a big thing.
Definitely.
I think as well, you know, it's almost a kind of, what have you got to lose? I know some people might have to give up a full-time job or something to start a business, so maybe they want to do it in their sort of spare time at first. But I think at some point, if you really want to start a business, you have to take that step forward. It doesn't have to be a leap off a cliff, but
No.
it needs to be a step in the right direction. And every step that you take in the right direction adds to the one before and adds to the one before. And
Definitely.
before you know it, you're halfway down that road towards your dream of owning your own business.
Definitely. It was really interesting what you were saying there. If you're asking yourself things and you're coming up with, what if this happens? What if that happens? I know I'm a terrible person for like questioning absolutely everything. I want to make sure that I know any potential outcome might happen so that I'm prepared for it. So I'm definitely that kind of person. But
Yeah.
something, and this might help people out there that are watching or listening, that if you're starting that question with what if this happens, what if that happens, it's about, like you're saying, trying to turn that off a little bit and more just saying, let's see what happens. Let's
Yeah.
see the outcome. Let's see how this is maybe going to help us. Because, like you're saying, when you take these little actions, you might actually surprise yourself and be like, oh, that's perfect. Like it worked perfectly fine, not a problem at all. Like I've achieved so much.
Exactly.
But no, that's absolutely fantastic. Do you have any other hints and tips you want to share?
Well, and also in relation to that, for every what if this negative thing happens, or what if this doesn't work out, for every what if negatively, there's another what if positively.
Exactly.
What if you start to learn more and realize that you can do this? What if, you know? So there can be just as many what ifs for to help you do it and move forward. I, I think I think the other thing, particularly for women in business, it's getting better now. But when I first started, and this is a lot of the work that I do as an ambassador for Women's Enterprise Scotland, is that I would go to events and trade shows and meetings and things, and 90% of it would be men in
Yeah.
suits, and I think that's a bit daunting,
Yeah.
especially for young women if they're maybe sort of just having their first foray into the business world. And I think that's what's really important about I mean, there's a place for the mixed gender events and things, but I think that especially early on, going to mostly female events, so
Yeah.
things like run by Women's Enterprise Scotland or run by other women's agencies. These events do so much. You get so much from other women at these events. It really makes a big difference, and I think
100%.
it really help bolster your confidence and your belief as well.
And again, it nurtures that, that support network of other
Yeah,
women that are going through it as well or have done that walk and they're helping support you as well, which is
yeah,
something that we do try and encourage within our
yeah,
female boss program. We have like a mentorship at the end where you get mentored with a female boss who is already doing their thing, so that they can again give back to the students that we've got. But no, I just want to say a massive thank you to you, Lynn, for
you're
joining me today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and even myself have managed to take a lot away from this conversation. So I just wanted to thank you for sharing your journey, and it is so inspiring and empowering. And I know that our students will be able to take a lot from the discussion. So just thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining us today.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks, and good luck everyone in your endeavours, and just go for it.
Perfect. Thanks everyone.